Hello. Okay, so where we are? Yeah. So here you see what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to log the variable which is func and which is declared with function keyword before its initialization only. But still we are going to log the entire value of it. That means the entire code that is present inside this function. Okay, let me save this, and you see we are getting this entire function and we are not getting an error, something like variable is not, func is been cannot be used func before its initialization because the func is been initialized in line number 2. Okay, and then it is not even showing like the undefined value. In case of var keyword, it shows up undefined because that will be partially hoisted. Since functions will be hoisted fully, so we are directly able to print that value. Even I can call this func also before its initialization, since we are using it by using the function keyword. So let me save this, and you see 50 got printed from line number 5. Did you understand? Did you understand? 3 points that makes the entire hoisting. Whenever a context gets created, what will happen? Hoisting will be happened, right? And in the hoisting, what will happen? Variables
are declared
which are declared where will be
assign the value undefined.
Hoisted, yeah, will be hoisted partially.
Yeah.
That is assigned with undefined value, right? And again, variables which are declared with function keyword will be hoisted. Okay, and variables which are declared with let and const keywords. Okay. So these 4 points you make a note of it. Okay. So whenever a context gets created, context means it can be either global execution context or functional execution context. Okay. You got it? GEC stands for global execution context or functional execution context. And by the way, when will be the functional execution context gets created?
Then there will be a
when function is called.
Then there will be function.
When we make a call, functional execution context will be created. That means some block of memory will be given from the stack to that function to execute that. And after execution of that function, that block will be erased. And similarly, after execution of the entire global execution context, that means the entire program, the global execution context will also get deleted. Okay, this is clear?
Yes, sir.
Is this clear? So let me know what will be this now. What we get? See, I'm making a call. Can I make the call before its initialization? I'm using function keyword. Can I make a call before its initialization?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because before execution of this first line only, this func variable will be hoisted fully. That means the value of it will be assigned. So we can call anyway. Okay. So now I'm calling this function. That means there will be a functional execution context created. And will these two variables get hoisted inside the functional execution context?
It will throw error, not initialized.
Not initialized, or what error? You have to tell the error exactly, because you know all kind of errors.
You can't access variable before initialization.
Yes, that's the error you will get. You see, firstly, global execution context created, and in this, firstly, this func variable will be hoisted with its value because we are declaring this function variable func variable by using the function keyword. And now the first line gets executed. So when this, since it is a function call, what will happen? Another block of memory will be given particular functional execution context on the top of the stack. Okay, now this is what? This is func execution context, right? Now in this, how many variables are there? A and B are there. Since they are declared with let keyword, they will not be hoisted. So execution gets started. And when I'm trying to print this console log A, as there is nothing like A in this, what will happen? It will throw an error. What kind of error is that? Cannot be used before its initialization, because JavaScript knows that there are variables which are declared with let keyword, but they can be accessed only after the declaration, but we cannot access them before the declaration when we are making by using let keyword. Okay, now can you tell me what will be the answer if I make instead of let, if I make var? Can you tell me what will be the answer now? So what will happen
Undefined.
before undefined will be printed? Because you see, whenever the functional execution context gets, whenever the function call is there, what will happen firstly? What will happen? Functional execution context will be created.
Context.
And
Yes.
within this context, how many variables are there which are declared with var keyword? Only a single variable, which is A. So that will be hoisted first. So A is assigned to undefined. Okay. And then the execution gets started. So the first in the first line, we are trying to print the console log of A. That means A value will be printed. What is the value of A?
20.
Undefined. So undefined will be printed in the console. And then A will be assigned to 20 then again. And there is a variable B created, which is assigned to 30. And then console log of A plus B. That means it is going to print 20 plus 30, that is 50. Okay. And then it will read this thing and we are done. And after this, that means we are done with the function call. So function will be erased like this. And after the erasing function, where we were in the global execution context, on the line number 1. That means we are done with execution line number 1. And from line number 2 to line number 7, since it is a function definition, we are going to skip this and directly the control goes to line number 8. As from line number 8, there is nothing. So the global execution context will also get deleted like this. Okay. Okay. Did you understand? Let me save this and you see the output. You see, we got printed up with this undefined on line number 3 because A is been hoisted before its initialization and before its assignment only. And now when we are trying to print this console log of A plus B, already A and B are being created with the values of 20, 30 previously. So they will be added up and printed on the console, which is 50. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is what hoisting is. Now I'm not going to discuss many things about this. I'll be just putting this text inside the chat box. Yeah. Now what I'll do is that now we will jump into this concept, which is scope chain. Okay. And before we discuss scope chain, I wanted to show you. I wanted to ask you some questions. Okay. Let is equal to Aravind, something like that. And there is a function that I'm creating, which is step. And I'm just going to log this in, and I'm going to create a variable called B, which is 40. Okay, and I'm going to call this function test, and I'm going to log this B. And can you guess what will be printed here and what will be printed here? With your knowledge till now, whatever you have to give some answer to me. What will be printed on line number 3? Just analyze yourself. So in the stack memory,
Arvind.
Arvind will be printed. I don't know why you are guessing that. Okay, let it be. You are guessing that Arvind will be printed. Okay. And then what will be printed over here?
Not defined.
Not defined. So that means you are telling that you will get an error. Right?
Yeah.
Is this what you are telling?
And not defined will be printed.
Okay. So yeah. I was on mute. Someone is telling that it is Arvind and Arvind will be printed, and then not defined error will be occurring here. So let us see, let us analyze before saving this file. Let us analyze what's going to happen here. Okay. And you have to tell me now. I'm not going to tell anything. You have to tell me what will happen. What will happen? I'll try to create this stack, all stack. Yeah. Now what will
In the
happen?
global execution,
Firstly, global execution context will be created.
n variable will be assigned to Arvind.
Before execution or after execution? Firstly,
Before
first line
firstly,
will be first line after executing first line. There is nothing to
n will be assigned.
hoist or what?
No,
Is there
nothing
anything
to
to get
hoist.
hoisted? In the global execution context, is there anything to hoisted?
Function
No.
test.
Yes, test function needs to be hoisted first. So test, which will be assigned with this function. Okay, and then the execution gets started. Okay, and after right?
Yes.
Yes or no? And then
Yes.
from line number 2 to line number 5, it is a function definition. I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay. From line number 2 to line number 5, it is a
Function
function
definition.
definition. So we are going to skip this. And at line number 6, what we are doing? We are making
Function
a function
call.
call. So what will happen?
A context will be created, test context.
Yeah, test context will be created just above the current execution context. And who was the current execution context before its creation? Global execution context. So just above this, the test context will be created. So let me make it test execution context. Now what will happen? Amma.
Hello, sir.
Context is created, and is there anything to need to be hoisted within this test execution context?
No.
Nothing. So what will happen? I'm trying to print something called n, right? And is there n within this context till now?
No. No.
There is no error. So what there is no
N.
no n. So what we should get? Achha,
No,
by
sir,
the way,
it will
is
check.
there? Yeah, wait a second. Actually, within this context, n value is not even there. That means it won't show an error called n cannot be accessed before its initialization, because there is nothing like n created within this context, right? There is nothing like n created within this context. So we should get a kind of error, which is n is not defined, but we won't get that, and we will be getting this Arvind only. Okay, we won't get that, and we will be getting this Arvind only. I'll tell you why. Okay, okay, and then after this, what will happen? There is a variable created which is b, and that will be assigned to 40. Okay, that will be assigned to 40. Okay, now what will happen? The control goes to this closing line. That means function erasing will be done. That means the function execution got completed. So it will be erased from the memory. Okay, just hold. Why we are able to print this, Arvind, I'll tell you. There is something called closures. You have to understand for that. Not scope chain. Even scope chain and closures both are linked. So we can cover that also here. Okay. So initially I thought of telling something, but no, you have to understand closures also here. So I'll tell you the closures. Okay. Now you see what happened after execution of this. What will happen? The control goes to which line now?
7th line.
We are done with this test execution. That's why the function context got created. So the control goes to line number 7. And now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to print B. And is there any B within this global execution context?
No, sir.
No,
No.
it is not created previously and it is not even created after all. So what kind of error we should get here?
Undefined.
Undefined or not defined?
Not defined.
Not defined.
Not defined. So let me save this. And you see, firstly, Arvind got printed where in the line number 3 and it got executed and then it got executed, this function got. And then at line number 7, what we should get? We should get an error called B is not defined because B never defined before or after this line. So you see, B is not defined. You got it? And I'll tell you why we are able to print this in. Okay. Till now, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Pakka.
Yeah. Everyone, I'm asking everyone, not to only Kiran.
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now you are going to get into a very good concept called closures. Actually, I thought of not teaching that, but I'll have to. Okay. Now I'll make little more complex. Don't worry. Even making things complex, at some point, at some instant of time, at a single point of time, you will get cleared with all of your doubts. Trust me. Okay. Function. Just console.log something called B. Okay. Now what I'll do is that I'll make a call for the test. Yeah. Okay. What I'm trying to do, I'm making a call for this test. Okay. And now I'm making a call for this over here. Now, could you help me how things happens in the memory level? Firstly, what we need to draw?
A stack memory.
Yeah, we need to draw the call stack first. Okay.
And a global execution part will be created.
Yes. Firstly, global execution context gets created. And what is there inside that? How many variables are there?
Test 1 and test 2 will be created.
And
With
they will
function.
be hoisted fully. Yeah, they will be hoisted fully. So that's why I'm rightly writing the values over there. Okay. Now, since from line number 1 to 4, it is a declaration. So we will skip. And from line number 5 to line number 9, it is also another definition. We'll skip. And again, at line number 10, what we are trying to do? We are trying to
Test
make a
two
call for the
calling.
test 2. So again, what will happen here?
The context will be
Functional
created.
execution context.
So this is the functional execution context of function test 2 will be created on the top of the current execution context, which is global execution context. And are there any variables which are declared with where keyword within this test 2? No.
No.
Inside test 2, you have to look inside test 2. And are there any variables which are declared with what?
Variables.
Where keyword? No. There are no variables which are declared with where keyword, so nothing to be hoisted. And what will happen? The line number 6 gets executed. After executing line number 6, what will happen? B variable will be assigned with a value of 30. And after that, console log of B